Hey, this is Stacia, and today I'm going to share a game played by women's grandmaster Mona Khaled, who is actually the best ever female chess player, female grandmaster basically, from Egypt. And just to tell you a little bit about her, um, she was born in 1994. She's an Egyptian chess player. She is the first Egyptian and Arabic player to achieve the Women Grandmaster title and the first and only girl to ever win the Egyptian Chess Championship, which she won in 2013. She also won the Women's African Chess Championship, the Women's Arab Chess Championship, the Mediterranean Women's title. I mean, she's basically done a lot of stuff. And okay, well, I thought I would feature a game that she played, and this was played in the World Junior Championship, the girls, in I think 2014. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started with the game. So she opened up with d4. Her opponent played knight to f6, and she went knight to f3 and d5. And so we have just a symmetrical queen pawn position, and then she went with e3. So this is the Colle system, and it doesn't look so ambitious when you first see this. The e3 pawn, is basically just protecting d4, and also kind of blocks in this bishop. So even in the London system, white achieves getting the bishop outside the pawn chain. The Colle system looks a little bit more modest, but just wait, because there are some ideas here, which you'll see. So after e3 and e6, she went bishop d3, bishop e7, and now knight to e5. So she chose to play an early knight to e5, and I have to say this reminds me of games that I've looked at from Harry Pillsbury, an American grandmaster and champion of the past. And when he would go knight e5, he was often intending the move f4 to solidify the knight on e4. And then if you ever try to take that knight, he would put a very strong attacking pawn on e5, which then kicks the knight off of f6. So I was curious when I first saw this game, is this what Mona is intending with her early knight e5? Well, let's wait and see. So in this game, her opponent castled. She played knight to d2, because I actually approve of this move, knight to d2. Why? Because if you develop your knight to c3, what's the problem? Well, you're actually blocking your c-pawn, which will either want to go to c3 to protect the center, or possibly go to c4 to challenge the center. Either way, it doesn't belong on c2, so I approve of this move, knight to d2, and then her opponent played c5. Okay, so they're challenging the center, so she went c3. Let's shore up that center, and then b6. Okay, so their opponent is playing solid, she's playing solid. Black has slightly more space, but white has this pretty amazing knight on the e5 square. It's yet to be seen what is going to happen to these two pretty bad bishops. So there's two bad bishops, but who is going to fix their bishop? So okay, f4. All right, so maybe she did see some Harry Pillsbury games. I don't know. Bishop a6. Okay, so this is a common idea for black. This is one way that they can try to get their bad bishop into the game, trade it for white's good attacking bishop. So Mona didn't know this, so she traded off her good bishop. No, just kidding. Of course not. She played bishop c2, preserving her good bishop. Don't forget the principle of good and bad bishops. This is the good bishop because it has all these light squares available, right? And it's the attacking bishop. It's aimed right at the king side, especially h7. So, yeah, I'm not hinting anything. Also, this is the bad bishop. So you basically want to trade off your bad bishop, but keep your good bishop. Therefore, this is kind of, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. This is really black's bad bishop. I know it looks like it's not, but it really is. And this is their kind of better good bishop. All right, so she decided to dodge this trade, which I think is absolutely correct. Queen c7, g4. Let's go. Let's go, right? All right, so I mean, when I first looked at this game, I'm like, oh, Colle system. I almost fell asleep. But after g4, I woke up. I was like, what? What's that? She's going crazy. She's not castled at all. She's not even close to castling queenside, but here she goes with g4. So what's the idea behind this move? I think there's two main ideas. Idea number one, let's kick this knight out, right? We've got a bishop aimed at h7. Let's eliminate the defender of that square. That's going to be good, right? And then once that knight is eliminated, guess who can come into play? Yeah, the queen. So we may be seeing that. Also, another idea is that if you start to notice during a chess game that your opponent's pieces are very far from the king, a really good strategy is to focus on bringing your pieces over to the king and attacking. And I think she carefully considered these considerations and went with g4. So her opponent played a prophylaxis move, knight f to d7, maybe thinking about challenging the strong knight, but also being very aware that g5 is coming. So that would be a huge problem, especially with queen h5 to follow. So she does go g5 here to open up the queen, and her opponent takes. Okay, now she had two choices she could take with a d pawn or an f pawn. So if you want to pause your video and see if you can figure out which one she took with, go ahead and do so now. So I actually love this move by her because Harry Pillsbury would definitely take with the f pawn, but there's a problem. The bishop will take our pawn. That attacks this pawn as well. So if you stop here, it kind of looks like this must be the wrong one. We should take with this pawn. But when you do this, now your centralized d4 pawn, that was basically your center there, is now gone. And this makes black center stronger. And yeah, I don't know about this attack. It feels like our pawns are sort of in the way. So yes, she actually did take with the f pawn. Who cares about pawns? So now you know why I like her. I don't care about pawns either. Yeah, and truth be told, you're giving up your g pawn, but what's better, having that pawn in the way or having an open g file for your pieces to line up with the king? Probably the latter is a little bit better. So I actually agree with this as well. And then she followed up with the very strong queen h5. Why is this strong? I mean, you're probably saying, Stacia, didn't you just hang your center pawn? Like, what are you doing? Well, there's checkmate, so you don't want to, you know, what's better, giving up a pawn or checkmate? Yes, this is actually a bit of a fork. And now black has to play h6. It's basically the only defense that I see that makes any sense whatsoever. So after h6, knight to f3 was played. This attacks the bishop and helps develop the position. All right, and then c takes d4. Okay, I approve of this by black. I would probably do the same thing. Black's starting to get in trouble, but also there is a white king on e1. If your opponent's king is in the center, it's a good idea to try and open that center. You can do that by capturing pawns. You either play a pawn break or you capture pawns. So now she has a choice again. Which one would you take with? The c pawn or the e pawn? She took with the c pawn. No, that would hang your bishop. Don't do that. No, she took with the e pawn. And now she has this very strong pawn chain. And it doesn't lose a bishop. Remember, we want this bishop, right? That's like, now that's a bishop. That's the kind of bishop you want. All right, so yeah, she took that way. And now black takes here. Now this looks a little concerning. If I was calculating and I saw this, I'd be like, huh, I'm never going to castle now. I was kind of hoping to go queenside. Yeah, now you're never castling. So So let's be mindful of what we're going to do with that king. And in this position, knight c6 by black, and now rook g1. Yeah, so remember I mentioned the open g file, so she jumped on that one. And now king h8. Yeah, because white is threatening to take this, right? That pawn's pinned. If a pawn is pinned, it is actually not defending what it looks like it's defending. So yeah, so king h8, breaking the pin. Now this actually is protected. And king d2. Ooh, I love this move. I think this is a super strong move, and I'll tell you why. I think she wanted to play this. Takes, takes, and then play rook g1 check. That looks pretty good, right? Where's the king go? You can't go anywhere except here. And then that would be checkmate. So that looks pretty good. So she played king d2, which means now rook g7 actually is a threat. So her opponent played f5. Why? To defend, right? I just said that's a threat. Yeah. Now, I was just looking at this with one of my favorite students, and she was like, why not take here? It's a pretty good point. I think that if black takes with a pawn, this doesn't look so good. I actually agree. You can't block with the queen, remember, because there is a bishop. So that's going to be checkmate. So they would probably have to take with a rook. I'm going to check with the engine. Oh my gosh, it's worse than that. I missed this. I completely missed this. Queen f4 check is the answer. Wow, I bet you that Mona saw this idea. Queen f4 check. Yeah, our king is not so safe, right? There is a bishop slicing into the position. Now the queen is in as well. We're going to have to make this sad move. And yeah, this is not what we were dreaming of. Maybe now rook takes f6. Now this is attacked. Yeah, this is going wrong. Probably black is winning here. So, okay. So that explains why she didn't take en passant. But in the game she didn't take en passant. She played a move that I would play. In a Smith-Morgan gambit, I would play this move. Rook G, oops, not Rook G7, Rook G6. A rook wedge. I love this. So she's like, yeah, I want to double, but why go Rook G2? Why go Rook G2 when we can go Rook G6? Attacks this, puts pressure here, blocks this pawn. Now we're maybe threatening take, take, check. Like, it's very, very nice. And yeah, the bishop's blocked, but she must have calculated what's to come. So after rook g6, now her opponent was getting nervous, no doubt. They went rook ae8 to protect the pawn that's attacked. She doubled up on the g file, of course. Knight d8, because, okay, it's a little bit desperate, sure, but knight d8 is like, yeah, my knight's not doing anything to protect my king. Let's get my knight over there pronto, right? Like, try to get this knight over here, at least protect h6. I don't know, something. So that's what she was trying to do. And here, white played the very powerful move. If you'd like to pause your video, find it, do so now. Knight d6. No, I'm just kidding. Knight g5. Yeah, and my student mentioned this move. And yeah, she did great on it because that is a very strong move. You cannot take the knight. Why not? Well, that pawn is in fact pinned. So this knight is just kind of in here. And there are some huge problems for black. Let's just have a look at it. Like, if black plays like, gosh, I don't know. Let's just play rook g8. I don't know what to do really. Well, then we go rook takes h6 check. And after g takes, we play check. If the queen blocks, we don't need our bishop. Our bishop's blocked because now the knight's here. That's going to be checkmate. So rook g8 is no good. If rook f7, it's not too different actually. Rook takes h6, check, g takes, check. And now this time there is rook h7, but after, let's see. Let's take. Queen takes. Now we have this check. Looking pretty good, looking pretty good. How did they get out of this? That's illegal. That's going to be mate. Yeah, there's really nothing you can do. This is going to also be checkmate. So, yeah, pretty brilliant find. I mean, knight g5, it's funny. When you put this on with the computer, it says like plus 25, plus 48. And then if you let it keep thinking, it just says mate and 7. So it's just like, takes the computer a little bit to catch up with our protagonist. So anyway, pretty interesting game. I don't think I mentioned who her opponent was, but shoot, I don't have it available, but it was a Chinese women's international master. I'm not sure if they actually had their titles yet for this game, but I hope that you do, or I hope that you did enjoy the game, and I'll be back with more chess. Okay, bye.